It literally felt like I was on the show pranked. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very funny slash crazy slash weird slash annoying story time for you guys today, and I hope that you all enjoy. It is about our trip to Florida last week and our Airbnb worst experience we've ever had. And I do want to make it clear before I start this story time that I love Airbnb. We've stayed with them multiple times and we've never had an experience like this before. And we contacted Airbnb, we got a full refund. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't use Airbnb because I will use them again in the future. I love to travel and Airbnb is a great way to really connect with the culture that you're staying in. So I definitely recommend Airbnb, but this is just such a funny story that I had to share. And if you do have a crazy experience like this, be sure to contact Airbnb and their customer service and get your money back, because there's no reason you should have to pay for something crazy like this. I also wanted to say that I do make a lot of travel videos, story times about my times working in the parks, the theme parks, and other videos similar to this. So if you do enjoy, please be sure to subscribe and help my channel grow, and give this video a thumbs up to help the algorithm. Let's tell this crazy story. I genuinely don't know if you guys are gonna believe me, because this story literally feels like we were in the middle of a reality show or being pranked or something. It was like hard to believe, but I genuinely am telling the truth. And you can ask my dad's family who was there, my dad, my stepmom, my stepmom's niece who was there, my husband you can ask. I promise this is a very genuine story. So what happened was, we went down to Florida for my dad's 50th birthday, and of course it is the pandemic right now. We were super safe, super cautious. We're keeping our distance, wearing face masks, taking those vitamins, everything else. But anyway, we usually stay with my parents when we go down to visit in Florida, just because it helps us save money and we get to spend more time with them. So we were planning on staying with my dad, and we were on our way, and my dad told us that he was having construction done to the house. So we stayed there the first night, but we were woken up super early with the construction going on. And then that day we decided that we were gonna get an Airbnb, like for all of us, like for my dad's family, for me and my husband, and for our dogs to come with us, because the construction was gonna be going on for a few days. And we didn't want to be up in the middle of the mess, and we didn't want to be waking up so early. So we decided to get an Airbnb. My dad paid for it, and it was pretty pricey because it was for like, how many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was for like 6 people and 4 dogs. So it was pretty pricey. And so my dad paid for it, and it was that day. So basically on Airbnb, the website, it said that check-in was going to be at 12, and we booked it at like 11:30. So we did book it pretty last minute. But you know, if you have your listing available, it should be available. So basically we booked it at 11:30. We were all prepared to go, and Blake, my husband, gets a phone call at like 11:45 from the owner of the property, and she basically tells him that, you know, since it was a last minute booking, they still needed to clean and get the house ready. So she told us that the house should be ready by 2 o'clock, which was 2 hours later than we were supposed to check in, which I was like, not a big deal. We booked a little bit later than we should have. No need to worry. And so we planned on getting there at 2 o'clock. So since we didn't want to be in the house with construction, we went to my dad's office, because he's a lawyer. So we were staying at his office, just like hanging out and trying to just chill, because it had been a very busy morning with the construction and everything else. So we were at my dad's office with the dogs, waiting to check into our Airbnb. We had all of our stuff with us, and we were sitting there for a couple hours. My dad got us some lunch, so we were sitting there eating lunch, and then it came to the point where it was like 1:45, and we still hadn't gotten a call from the woman who owns the property. So Blake called her and was like, hey, are we still good for 2 o'clock? Can we come check in? And she was like, well, technically by Airbnb standards, you technically aren't allowed to check in until 4 o'clock, but we're gonna try to get it ready by 3 o'clock for you. It should be ready in an hour, but at the absolute latest, it'll be ready by 4 o'clock. So at this point, we're starting to get a little annoyed, because the check-in time on the Airbnb website said 12 o'clock. So if it's gonna be a check-in at 12 o'clock, then that's what should be listed on the thing. Or if it's gonna be checking at 4 o'clock, that's what should be listed on the website. So at this point, we're kind of annoyed. We're like, okay, but whatever, we'll deal with it. So we're sitting there at the office waiting again for another couple of hours. It gets to 3 o'clock and she hasn't called. So we're thinking, okay, we won't bother her. We'll just go at 4 o'clock because she said at the absolute latest, it'll be ready at 4 o'clock. So we don't bother her at 3 o'clock. We wait until 4. It's 3:45. We still haven't gotten a call. So we're like, you know what? We're just going to drive there because she said at the absolute latest, it'll be ready by 4 o'clock. So it should be ready by 4 o'clock. So we get in our cars. We drive over there. We get there at 4:05 or 4:10 or something like that. And first off, when I pull up to the house, I am not impressed. The house itself is very nice, but we pull up, and I have pictures, so I'm gonna put them right here. We pull up, there's a pot, like a planting pot in the driveway that is broken, like somebody hit it and it hadn't been replaced. The plants along the side of the driveway were all dead, completely dead. And then, so in the back corner, there was a separate driveway that connects to the backyard with a fence. And there were 3 old mattresses just chilling on the fence. And we're just okay. So we start walking up to the door to put in our code, and we notice that there's cigarettes on the floor, old cigarettes that haven't been picked up. So we're like, okay, if they've been cleaning for the last 4 hours since we booked this, why is this such a mess? And we're just very confused. So we get to the door and we put in the code that we were given when we booked the Airbnb, and it doesn't work. And we try the exact instructions that she gave us, which is press the top button, put in the code, door will open. So we tried that, didn't work. So we tried pressing it first, putting in the code, pressing it again. We tried putting in the code, pressing it again. We tried every possible combination with the code to get the door open, and it would not open. So at this point, we're like, okay, what the heck? So Blake starts calling the woman, the property owner, and she doesn't answer. He calls 3 times, no answer. So we're sitting there in the car waiting for her to call back, trying to figure out what the code could be. Meanwhile, my stepmom has a funeral to go to, and she's supposed to be there in a half an hour, which we didn't think was a big deal because it was 15 minutes from the house, so she had time to shower, get dressed, and then go to the funeral. However, now we're sitting in the car for a long amount of time, and she has no way of showering or getting ready, and that's just annoying. So we're sitting in their car waiting, and Blake's like, you know what, I'm gonna go try the code again. So he gets up to go try the code, and this guy shows up, and the guy is wearing what's the correct term? An ankle monitor? A house arrest ankle bracelet? Anklet? Do you know what I'm talking about? He was on house arrest. He shows up and he's like, hey, how are you? And Blake's like, I'm good. We're supposed to be checking in and the code's not working. And the guy's like, oh, no worries. Let me just make sure that the cleaning ladies aren't in the house because maybe they're still in the house and they aren't finished yet. So we're like, okay, they should have been cleaning the last 4 hours, but okay, sure. So he goes into the house, and Blake tells him before he goes in the house, he's like, my stepmom, my mother-in-law, she has to go to a funeral. Is there any way that she can go shower because she really has to leave? And the guy's like, oh yeah, that's fine. But if everybody else could just wait for a little bit so I can make sure that the cleaning's all done, that would be great. So my stepmom goes into the house and she's taking her clothes and stuff so she can shower. And she gets into the house. There's no cleaning ladies, and the house is a disaster. Not clean at all, she says. And the guy is just frantically wiping everything down so we can get into the house. Not really cleaning, just literally wiping down the counters, wiping everything down. So we're like, what the actual heck? What is happening? So my stepmom doesn't shower. She just comes out and tells us the house is not clean at all. They're wiping things down just to try to get us into the house. It's not going to be clean. It's literally just going to be a quick wipe. And so she comes out, and Blake's telling her, I don't know what to do because the lady won't answer my phone calls. So she says, why don't I call for my phone number? And Blake's like, no way, that's not gonna work, but let's try it. So she calls the number on her phone, and she answers after like the second ring. Well, technically not her, some of her like associates or something, one of those guys answered the phone. And Blake took the phone. He's like, sorry, I'm saying like a lot, that's one of my worst habits. But he tells them, you know, we're supposed to be checking in at 4 o'clock. The house is supposed to be ready at 12 o'clock when we booked on the Airbnb website. It's been 4 hours. The house is not cleaned at all. We would like our refund. We would like to know what is going on. And I would really like a call back from the property owner. So the guy on the phone tells him, okay, I will get her to give you a call back so we can figure this whole thing out. And Blake is just like so frustrated at this point because, you know, we're all tired. My stepmom needs a shower. She has to get to this funeral, and it is just a complete nightmare. So we tried canceling on the Airbnb app, but if you cancel the day of, you get like a partial refund and not the full refund. And we're absolutely not paying for something that we did not stay in at all and have had this huge masquerade with. So we start calling Airbnb. My dad calls his bank to cancel the charge from Airbnb. We're literally trying everything that we possibly can to get this situation resolved. And meanwhile, we go back to the house, and so at this point it's like 5 o'clock now, 5:30, 6 o'clock. The property owner has not called us back. Luckily, my dad had gotten in contact with the bank, so the bank canceled that charge so that Airbnb basically couldn't charge my dad for the stay. So we had gotten that taken care of, but we still had not heard from the property owner. So she finally calls like 6 o'clock or 6:30, I can't remember for sure, which is 6.5 hours after we were supposed to be checked in at 12 o'clock that day. And she tells Blake, I'm so sorry, this is completely my fault. There was a miscommunication with the cleaning company, they didn't show up, and so the people that were staying there the night before had this huge party and there was trash and stuff everywhere. At this point, we just really don't care. We're so frustrated, and it's just like, it just feels like we've been pranked. And so Blake's like telling her, you know, everything that had happened, the fact that my stepmom had to get to a funeral and she was an hour late for it because of the fact that this whole situation happened. And he's telling her, you know, I'm grateful for your apology, but at this point we just really want our money back. We want a full refund. So whatever way you can do to get that to us would be great. She's like, okay, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. I couldn't get in contact with Airbnb. Blake couldn't get in contact with Airbnb. We were on the phone with customer service for like hours, even though when you first call customer service, they're like, your call will be answered in 10 minutes. That did not happen at all. We were on the phone for hours. So she basically doesn't cancel it that day. Just sends Blake a bunch of messages about how she's really busy, she can't get to it. So the next day happens, she still doesn't really get it figured out, and she like cancels it, but she cancels it for the following day, not for the first night, so we're not getting our full refund. So Blake's telling her, listen, it's not that hard, you just have to cancel it from your end since you're the property owner so we can get our full refund. She's like, okay, I'll take care of it. So finally, at like 6 o'clock the following day, we finally had a reservation canceled. So that is our worst experience with Airbnb. I still cannot believe it happened. From the check-in being so later to the broken pots, the mattresses, the cigarette butts, dead plants when we pull up, to the guy with the ankle monitor showing up, to the house being disgustingly dirty and them just quickly wiping everything down so we can stay. It literally felt like I was on the show pranked. So that's our story. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this story time. I will have a playlist at the end of all my other story times that I have shared so far, but I have so many others that I want to document so I don't forget them and I can watch these back in the future. But if you enjoyed, please be sure to subscribe. Like I said, I do a lot of travel videos, story time videos, and other things of that nature. So please be sure to subscribe so you can see those videos. And please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you on Thursday with our second Florida vlog. Bye guys!